everybody, it's Kathy Champion and you're back in my craft room here at Random Acts of Crafting. So let's come on in and get comfortable and we're going to make something that is very pretty. I saw this on Pinterest a while back and I kind of felt a little intimidated by it. I know we all have those crafts that we feel just a little bit intimidated by, and this was one of them. But when I sat down and actually started looking at what the measurements were, exactly how it came together, it really wasn't hard at all. So I'm going to try to take this, and this might be a long video because I want to take this step by step and show you how to build this from the inside out. We're going to start off, and first of all, let me tell you what this is called. And I don't have a sample to show you because I did not make one prior. I went through and just kind of sort of built and made some notes and that sort of thing. I'm going to lay this pack of Flora paper to the side because we're going to come back and decorate with this paper. But for right now, we need to build our box because this is a card in a box. And we are going to build our card and our box out of this beautiful pastel pink. Now these are both 12 by 12 sheets. It's not a super heavy cardstock, but it's not real flimsy either. It is a lightweight cardstock. So we're going to start off with making the box. And in order to make the box, we need to cut this down because our box needs to be a piece that measures 10.5 by 6 3/4. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut it at 6 3/4. I got to swing my arm out for that one. So 6 3/4 is going to be right there. And then we need to cut this down to 10.5. So 10 1/2 would be 10 1/2. Yeah, right there. Okay, so this is the piece that we need for our box. We're going to need to do some scoring, and I can't decide if I want to score on here or if I want to take it to the scoreboard. I think I'm just going to go ahead and score here. The scoring measurements are going to be listed here as well as in the description box below. So this piece is so simple because all you're going to do is score it at 1/2 inch all the way around. So here is 1/2. Let's see if that's right there. So I'm going to close this down and I'm going to take my score and just come up, and then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to do this one more time, centering it right there on that 1/2 inch. Like I said, it's so simple, just 1/2 inch all the way around, all 4 sides, 1/2 inch. This is going to make our box that our card's going to live in. And this is such a beautiful card for a birthday, Mother's Day, for your grandmother. There's just so many, your grandfather, your dad. You can make this card, not exactly in the pink, but you could definitely make this. Now we need to score in the middle at 5 inches. So I'm going to bring this back in so I have a nice even area to lay this on. So 5, and then we're going to move it over to 5 1/2. Now this is a very, very simple item to put together, and I'm going to show you just how simple this is. The first thing we want to do is grab your little cutter bee scissors or a small pair of snips that you might have. And what we're going to do first is on this 10.5 inch side where you have this 1/2 inch score line, I'm going to bring that up and see if y'all can see that. I don't know if you're seeing it or not, but there is a score line here and here, and all you want to do is snip up to the next score line, which is that 1/2 inch, and you want to wedge that out just a tiny bit, just like that. And then you're going to cut up on the other side of it, and you're going to just wedge that out just a tiny bit. And that little piece does not want to let go. There we go. Then you're going to turn it around and do the same thing on the other side. Just snip up to the score line and wedge just a tiny piece out. And then do the same thing over here. Snip to the score line and then wedge that out just a hair. Just like that. Now we're going to turn it around like this where you're 6 3/4 inches at the top, and on these corners here you're just going to snip to the score line. No fancy footwork or anything, just snip to the score line, snip to the score line, and you probably want to wedge this out just a tiny bit as well. Y'all know this just helps your corners when you fold them in fit a little bit better. So this right here is not rocket science, it's just a little nip here. Then you're going to turn it around to this side and do the same thing. Just snip it up to the score line and then wedge that out. And then the same thing on this side. And you know what? Our box is done. All we have to do is put a little glue on it and call this bad boy a done deal. Okay, there's that little wedge piece out. And all my little scrappies, I'm just going to push them over to the side because we'll clean those up a little bit later. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start folding my score lines. So just start folding, bend them down. This is a good time to pull out your bone folder because you do want to burnish these down and make them nice and crisp. I'm going to start here. And you want to bend these little ones too because they're going to need to be tucked back and you want those to have a nice crisp line on them. So I'm going to bend this one back and score it down or burnish it down. Y'all know what I meant. And we're going to do the same thing on this side and just all the way around just work these score lines. Just bending them up. Work them down just like that. And like I said, I think this would be such a nice gift. And with the way this card is made, you could almost make this card like a little keepsake mini album. I can see grandmothers and great-grandmothers loving to receive something like this with a little keepsake of the grandkids' pictures in it. Just so many different things that you can do with this card. You can make it a card of encouragement just by the sentiments that you add into it. And you'll see that as we get to making the card. But for right now, we're going to concentrate on this little box. Now, what you want to do with your pieces, your little tabs, is make sure okay, now that we've got all of our score lines varnished and everything is fitting together perfectly, we can go ahead and put some glue on these and glue these together. Now this is a very simple box to put together, so I'm going to start inside right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to fold these little flaps in, and we're just going to put glue on the flap, and then we're going to fold that up like that and glue it down. So I'm going to grab art glitter glue and folding this flap in. You want to make sure you put it on that inside. I think I might need to refill my glue. Just like that, and now you're just going to fold that up and glue it down. But what you want to do when you do this is you want to hold that because you want to make sure that that piece is squaring up right there on the corner. That is crucial anytime you're making a box. Now we're going to turn it over and we're going to do the same thing over here. And I'm going to hold it down just like that. Put glue right there on the inside of that tab. And then I'm going to bring that up and press that into the corner just like that. Hold it, hold it. You really want to make sure those edges are squared up. And now we're going to do the same thing to the front. On these, we are going to put the glue right here on this tab. So you might have to do a little fancy footwork to do this one. So I'm going to put it right there, and I'm hoping you can see what I'm doing. There's the glue. And then I'm going to sit the box down this way. Line up those corners and glue that down. And then we're going to do the same, and I've got glue on the inside of this, but that's okay because we're going to actually be covering a good portion of this box. We're going to decorate it. Make it beautiful for the participant that's going to be receiving this. Participant, I think recipient is what I meant. Okay. So now what you want to do, oops, did those? Okay. We got to do the top as well. Now when I do the top, what I want to do is make sure that this is going to fit up very snug. So I'm going to put the glue on both sides at the same time. And then I'm going to bring it together, snug it down, just like that. And then we're going to close our box. To make sure we got a nice snug, and that looks really good. Now if you want to, you can angle cut this right here. What I would suggest if you're going to do that is, for my preference, I would just take off a corner of that, just like that, and see, it just makes a nice little finish on it. You don't have to, but I think it looks nice if you do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to angle from here to here, just like that on both sides. And see how that makes a nice, pretty little angle cut right there? I think it just dresses up your box a little bit. Okay, so our box is done. We're going to move that to the side, and now we're going to work on our card. And let me clean up my ink, because for whatever reason my ink's deciding it wants to spill out over my lid, and I think it's because I shook it down. Alright, I'm going to sit this up here, get it out of our way, and now we're going to actually work on our card itself. And let me grab my pink cardstock. And now with this piece, let me see if I can straighten up my work surface. And we are going to do a little fancy footwork on this particular card. So let me pull my notes over, because I did have to make notes because there are some core lines. So like I said, that's the reason I'm going to have all of the measurements and everything in our in the description, as well as on the screen as we're doing it. You're going to see the measurements pop up here and there. So 12 by 12 piece of cardstock, and we're going to cut this 1 inch off of one end. So you're going to end up with a piece that is 11 by 12. So save your 1 inch piece, and I'm going to tell you why. We're going to use that for a belly band. So I'm going to line that up on my 1 inch line right there. Whoops. And then I moved it when I brought down my arm. That's okay. Line it up again. Hold it and slice it. Now I'm going to lay this piece up here because that's going to end up being a belly band for our card. Now the other thing that I'm going to do, normally I score with this, but like I told you, there are times when you will need a scoreboard. This is one of those times. So I'm going to bring out my We Are Memories scoreboard, and I have the scoreboard in my shop, so if you're interested in picking up a really good scoreboard, this one is excellent. So on the 11-inch side, making sure that it says 11 right here, we're going to score at 2 3/4. Now I'm going to bring this down just a little bit so you can see and I can see. 2 3/4, and I'm using my bone folder because I like the way it scores much better than the stylist. Okay, 2 3/4 all the way to the end, and then we're going to score at 8 1/4. The good thing about this scoreboard, it has your 8ths, your 4ths, your 3/8, your half, your 5/8, your 3/4, and your 7/8 already marked off on here, so you can not have to guess about your 1/4 inch or 3/8. A lot of times the 3/8, 5/8, and 7/8 is what throws people, but with this scoreboard you don't get thrown because it's marked off right here. So 8 1/4. Okay, and then we're going to turn it to where our 12-inch side is at the top, and now we're going to score at 3 1/8. Now this is a tiny little score mark, so what I like to do is rub right there and get it going, and then press firmly all the way down. Take your time. See, that's what happens if you don't take your time. You'll get off on that score mark and it will get a little wonky on you. And mine got a little wonky on me, so I'm going to come back in with a smaller stylus, and I'm going to follow that score line back down just like that to make sure I get that in there good. Now we're going to go to 7 3/8, and again, like I said, it's so easy with this scoreboard because there's 7 1/8, 1/4, 3/8. So 3/8 is right here, and again I'm going to go all the way down, and I'm going to go back over it just to make sure we got a good score line, and then we're going to move to 7 1/2. So again, that's like an 1/8 over, and I'm going to score that down. I'm going to come back with this stylus because I think it will give me a little better control. See, it just will slide off like that sometimes so easily. It's okay if it does. Don't worry about it. Just try to line it back up. Now I'm going to get back up here with this one, and I'm going to come back down. And that got me all the way to the bottom. Now we got one more score to make, and that's on the 10-inch mark, and that should be really easy. Right like that. Now these are your score marks. This is going to be, let me make sure that I got this right. I don't want to tell y'all wrong. Yeah, this is going to be your top, no, the 12-inch side. This is your 12-inch side. So the card's going to be like this. So that first 3 1/8, you want to turn that and make sure that's at the top. And I'm going to show you what you're going to cut away. With a pencil, I am going to mark this. Let me move the scoreboard out of the way so you can see exactly what we're going to be cutting away. On the top, we're going to cut away this and that little score line. Same thing over here. We're going to cut that away and that little score line. So let's do that first, and I'm going to use a longer pair of shears. You can use whatever you have, but if you've got a longer pair of scissors, it makes it easier because you can make longer cuts. So that's going to go right to there, and then I'm going to come up and cut away that 1/8 of an inch score. Just like that. Now save these because we can use those, even though I marked on them, we can use the back side of that. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to come up on this score line all the way past that 1/8 score mark. And then I'm going to come in over here and I'm going to cut that 1/8 away. Just like that. Now this is going to be our top. Now this is our bottom, so we got to do a little fancy footwork down here too. On the bottom, this is a score line, this is a score line, and then there's that 1/8. You are going to take away the 1/8, this one, and then the same thing over here. This one, and this one. And I'm going to show you how simple it is to do that. I'm going to cut away from the 1/8 first. And then I'm going to go up on this side. And if you need to bend that just a little bit so you can see it better, you know, go ahead. It's fine. And I'm going to hold that up so I can actually catch the light against it, just like I need it to be. A little bit more right there. I just didn't want to cut up into that other piece. There we go. And now we're going to do the same thing here. Cut to this side, to the left of your little X that I showed you how to X out. Cut all the way up to the score line. And then cut this whole piece away. And we need to snip that just a little bit more right there. And that little piece just does not want to let go. We're going to fix him. We're just going to trim him away just like that. Okay, so now you have your card. This card is going to fold in like this, so go ahead and fold your pieces in and get your score line nice and crisp. So you want to just fold in on these two side pieces. Pull that down. And you want to make sure that it's all the way over onto that fold line. Just like that. Now you're going to fold this piece up right here, and this is going to make a pocket. I think I'm going to do this one first. This one we have the two little lines, and now I'm going to show you a trick that works for me. I am going to grab my ruler, and I'm going to use this beveled edge, the sharper edge, and I'm going to lay it on that very first 1/8 inch score line. And I'm going to use my ruler to help me bend that up. Just like that. And I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to do the same thing for the next one. This to me just makes it easier to get that little tiny score line. And this is just going to give you a little 1/8 of an inch depth in your card, so that you can tuck some little goodies away in there. You can decorate it and put some fun stuff on the decorating part of it. And you're also going to have a pocket, so if you wanted to put a gift card in there, you can. So now we're going to roll this. And this is that second, you see that second little score line right there? And you're going to roll that until you can get it to crease. Just roll that piece. And you will eventually, it's not easy, I'll be honest, this is probably the hardest thing in making this card. You can bring your roller back in, and if you hold it really, really tight, you can bring that in and get that second score, just like that. Okay, that's it right there. So now that I got that on the fold line, I'm going to go ahead and burnish it. Nice strong fold line. Okay, let's bring that over. Just like that. And then I'm going to fold that down. just like that. And again, I'm going to do the top one the same way, because it's really important for these to be nice and strong, solid score lines that you can easily bend this. And I'm going to bend the second one. And you do, like I said, you do have to work these. Anytime you have 1/8 of an inch next, you know, side by side like that, it is going to create a little bit of a challenge, but it's not anything that we can't get around. Okay, so we got that done. All our scores are done now. So the card is going to go like this, like this, like this, and like this. And then it's going to live inside this little box. And how stinking cute is that going to be once we get this all decorated? And think what a beautiful little project that's going to be to hand someone as a gift. So now the fun part, we're going to decorate. I'm going to start off with my card. Now I made a prototype and I wrote in all of my measurements, the width, and I did my mats because we're going to mat this. And I want to use this beautiful paper called Flora number 3. And this is new in my shop. Some of you have already grabbed this up. If you haven't gotten a pack of this, you are missing out on a beautiful, beautiful paper pack. Look at these colors. Look at this against this. I mean, look at that. I mean, the colors are just, they're gorgeous. You know, I love green and pink, but look at that. Oh, it is breathtaking. Breathtaking paper. I love this piece. Look at that. Ah, it's so subtle and yet so elegant. And who doesn't love flowers? Look at that. I just thought this would go good. I had solid pink that I thought would go good with this. And look. And look at these cut aparts. A little bit too big to go on here, I think. I don't know, that one might fit. Might have to cut it down, but that would fit. So we might use some of these little cut aparts because we've got some places here. And I think, let's look at our ruler. We know that these pieces are 4 by 2.5. So let's see, that is 4 by 3, but we could easily cut that down. I think we could cut that down and make that one work. That's cute. Love that one. Look at that beautiful green. Ah, these are gorgeous. These right here would make beautiful cards all by themselves. I mean, could you see that on the front of a card? Hardly any work at all when you make cards and you use these cut aparts because, I mean, let's face it, it does the work for you. I love this one. I think this might be one of the colors that I want to use on here. And I'm thinking I want to do all of my outside pieces first. So maybe this here. And I would love to have a solid green down at the bottom. So let's go back to this green. How pretty is that going to be? Or do I want this side? Green here. And this here, or this here. I think this one. Now, when you're dealing with pattern paper, make sure you're conscious of the orientation of your paper. So I like the smaller print on here because I think it looks better. So we're going to go with this one. And I'm not sure or I think I might go with this on the bottom. We can cut 2 pieces of this and make that work. So okay, let's map this and this first. So I am going to use this piece. And what we need is we need a 5 1/4 by 2 1/4. So 5 1/4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off a piece that's 5 1/4. But the first thing I need to do is cut away our little registration mark, because if not, sometimes our paper doesn't fit my trimmer. So the first, and this is Carta Bella paper. Y'all, this is some good paper. I love it. It is so nice. Look at that. Cut that registration strip away. And now, I don't think this one really matters. I like it like that. Alright, so I'm going to cut this piece at 5 1/4. So 5 1/4 is right there. And now I need a strip that is 2 1/4. No, I'm sorry, 2 3/4. So I'm going to cut a strip off that is 2 3/4. Right there. And that's going to be my piece that's going to live on the outside of here. Just like that. Maybe like this. And so you're going to have just a little scant amount of that border peeking around the outside. Is that not cute? So now I'm going to turn this over, since I'm going to use this side, and I'm going to cut the bottom at 2 1/4. So 2 1/4. It's right there. And this one is going to go right here. Now, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab that temporary snail that y'all know I love to use. And I'm going to put a little piece of it on the back of this one. Y'all know I love to put my pieces down first to make sure it's what I want. So we are going to open this up and put this one down just like that. And then I'm going to bring this top flap, and we're going to go with this one, and we're going to put it right here. Getting it even. There we go. Oh yeah, I love that. I think it's so pretty together. I love the teal, that light teal with these florals. I think it's gorgeous. So now we need to cut another piece of something to go here. Now I am going to look at this, and I am still loving this green piece right here. And I think I'm going to cut a piece up here for the green, and I want that to be 5 and bring my trimmer back. So this is going to be 5 1/4, same thing. 5 1/4. And then we're going to turn it, and we're going to cut this at 2 3/4. So 2 3/4. It's almost 3. And then this piece can go right here. Oh, look at that green with that pink. Is that not gorgeous? Now again, and I love that. I think we're going to have to put that on our little fold-in pieces, because it's going to look so pretty next to this green. So for those, we need 4 by 2 1/2. So I'm going to turn this over, and we need a 2 1/2. So I'm going to go this direction, or do I want to go this direction? 2 1/2. We're going to go this way. So there's 2 1/2. By 4. And I need one more. That's going to be 2 1/2. By 4. And then these pieces are going to go right here. Is that not gorgeous? Look at that. So again, I'm just going to put a piece of snail, temporary glue down on here on both of these, because I really want to get the layout of this before I commit with glue. Okay, let's look at this now. That, is that not gorgeous? Now we need 2 more pieces for in here, but I'm going to go with something a little different, and I think I want to do what we did down here on the inside here. So again, we still have those same measurements. We need it to be 2.5. So I'm going to go 2.5 and 2.5. And we're going to cut both of these off at 4. So I'm going to pick both of these up this time just to save a little bit of time. And I am going to cut these at 4. Save your scraps, because you know we can use them. I love that too. Which one do I want to use? Y'all, I'm a sucker for a pattern. Look at that next to that green. I think I'm going with this. I can't help myself. Do y'all ever do that? Are y'all that indecisive when it comes to putting stuff together? I think this piece can go here. Yep, that piece can go right there. Fits perfect. So when you find pieces that fit, why not use them? Okay, I'm going to move this out of the way just for a minute. We've still got lots of pretty paper in this pack. But you know what? I don't want to use all of my paper on this one project, and I want to kind of limit it to a couple of sheets, because I got so much I want to do with this flora. I think it's such pretty paper. Okay, do I want to do this like that? Like this? Yeah, I do. I changed my mind, y'all. Y'all know I do that all the time, right? Y'all know that. If you watch me on a regular basis, you know that I am constantly changing my mind when I'm putting a card together. It is just what I do. Okay, now I'm bringing that in a little closer on that score line. Just a little, well, you know what? This is what I love about that temporary adhesive. You can move your stuff around. If you don't like it where you put it, just peel it up and put it back down. It makes it so nice to be able to do that. So I am loving the way this is coming together. And don't forget, we're going to decorate that box as well. And we're going to be putting a belly band on this. And this piece right here wasn't cut for this, but it just about fits perfect. 5 1/4 by 1 3/4. Yeah, see, that's 2. I just got to take a scant amount off of the edge of this. Do I want to do that? Y'all, I want to do this. I'm sorry. But I just love that. So we are going to take 1/4 of an inch off of that. And now this piece will adhere right here. So let's put a little snail on it. A little bit here and a little bit there. And let's put this piece right here. And now this piece inside here is not going to show, but we're going to put a little half mat. I guess you could call it a half mat. We are going to use a little piece of this, and I am going to cut about 1 1/2 off of this. And let's cut this down to 5 1/4. I think that's what that was. 5 1/4. I'll tell you what, let's take our 1 1/2 off first. 1 1/2. And then take it to 5 1/4. And let me show you how pretty this is going to be living up underneath here. We are going to glue this down right here because this pocket is going to come up and cover the most of that, but you're going to have that little bit poking out. And I think it looks so cute just to have some little something right there. So let's put a little piece of snail on the back of this. And we're going to tuck it right here. Just like that. And now we need one big piece for the middle. And I am going to look for something that would look beautiful. And let's see. Where flowers bloom, so does hope. I love that. I wish we had more. There's a congrats, but I'm not making this a congrats card. I am trying to make this an encouraging card. So let's pull back over our paper pack. I love the hello. I wonder if the hello would work in there. Let's see. Let's measure our hello, and then we'll measure inside of our card. Now the hello is going to be 4 by 4. So let's see, a 4 by 4 would fit right in the middle of this. Very pretty. And let's see if we could put it on a mat. And I think that green. Let's cut this out. I'm going to use my trimmer to cut this because I do want to get it as nice and straight as I possibly can. And we got to get that registration mark off. Remember, I told you sometimes you can't cut. Your piece will not fit if you have that registration mark on it. So let's just slice that away. And now let's turn this back over, and now we can get this in here where we want it. And I'm going to line that up right on that trim line. Let's see if I can get this out of here without making a mess of everything else. Tell you what, let's trim this off first. I find out a lot of times I need to trim these the way they're supposed to be trimmed out to keep from messing up another one. So let's trim that out. And now we can trim this out. And we've got a cute little congratulations that can go on a card. And we got this piece right here. This is definitely one of those cards you've heard, if you watch Meme Made It, let your paper do the work. And I got a little bit of that purple on the edge of that, so I'm going to take just a scant little bit off of there. See, just barely a crumb. But that cut away that color that I did not want on here. So now what I want to do is I want to find a piece of something that this will look good against, and I am thinking that teal would be beautiful in there. So let me move my little cutter parts. I want to make sure that I keep all of my paper together. Look at that. This would be gorgeous in there. We're going to cut a piece of, oh, no we're not. These are my other cutter parts. I don't want to mess with those. That's the bad thing of when you have a pack of paper that's double-sided. I love double-sided paper, but then I'll get ready to cut something apart, and I'll be like, oh no, I can't cut that. That's too pretty on this side. I'm going to use these to make cards, so I'm not going to use that. But I am going to pull back into my paper pack without the stickers. And let's see what beautiful piece we have in a solid. That's pretty. And what you want to do is just lay your piece on it and see if it speaks to you. I want something with more of a, no, but see, that'll kind of bleed into it. We know we don't want to do these because these are cutter parts. Oh, that would pop. This is a possibility. Yeah, that's a possibility, but not. And that would kind of hide in there. Nope. And nope. Nope. Yes, this is it. Sometimes you just have to go through your paper pack to come up with exactly what you want. So, you know, don't be afraid to do that. Dig into your paper and always remember to cut your registration marks off. I am so bad about forgetting to do that. Okay, so now I want this piece to be 5 1/4. Let's cut it at 4 this way. Yeah, let's cut it at 4 inches this way. This will save more paper. 4 inches this way. And see, that leaves me a much larger piece. And then we're going to cut this at 5 1/4. And like I said, don't be confused at this point because these measurements are all going to be in our description. So all the mats for each piece. Now I think I want to do something with the corners of these, and I think I'm going to scallop those. So I'm going to grab my, I think I'm going to stub them. I like the stub. I think I'm going to just do this little number right around each side. Give it a little character. Give it a little, and see, that's going to fit on there perfectly with this little border. Just like that. So, again, in true fashion of my snail, we are going to put this down in here. And like I said, once we finish with this, we are going to come back and stick everything down. You know, I'm just eyeballing that to get it about the same amount on each side. That looks good. Now look at this. How cute is that card? Now we're going to do some decorating here. We're going to put a belly band around it. We also need to cover the back. So I'm thinking that this piece, since it's already cut to that size, we just need to cut the length off, which we know is 5 1/4, because everything in the width of this is 5 1/4. So very simple. Take this to your trimmer, put it in at 5 1/4, slice it away. And look, you still got this little piece that would be cute on anything. So now we have this to put on the back. And again, I'm going to snail it. And now we need to decide how we want to do our belly band. Now here's our belly band. So I'm going to take it and put it right across the front like that. And as even as I can get it. So I want to make sure that I've got the same amount on each side. So we know that this is a 12-inch piece. So I'm going to put this as much in the center as I can, like that. And you know what? We know that this is 4 1/4. I'm just going to center it up. We're going to eyeball it. You know, things don't have to be perfect. Fold it around to the front like that, and then fold it around this way. And you just want to make sure that they even up like that. Now when you crease this down, so you've got that little 1/8 of an inch piece. So what we're going to do at this point, we're going to leave this piece like this until we decorate it, because I want the fold to go to the back. We're going to decorate the front of it, and we're going to put something really pretty on the front. So maybe some die cuts. We might even stamp a pretty little sentiment, do some little fancy cuts. So let me regroup, clean off my my mess, and decide exactly how we're going to finish this card up. When we come back, we'll stick everything down. We will decorate our belly band, our box, and oh, I'll tell you what, before we go, let's go ahead and work on our box. I totally forgot about our box. And I'm wondering, that right there would be beautiful on the front of that box. Look at that. So again, like I said, this is one of those cards where you want to let the paper do the work. Look at that. I am going to cut this away. I'm going to cut out this beautiful, because I think this will work. So, trimmer. Let's put this in right on that line. That's so cute. And I'm going to bring this one up to this line. And we can always trim some of this off if we need to. So let's bring our box back over and see, it does need just a hair trimmed off. So I'm going to put this one in. And we're going to take just about 1/8 of an inch off of that. And I think that's going to make this where it will fit on the front of this. Oh, that is beautiful. Now I've got some washi tape that looks like lace, and I'm going to pull that out and see if we can find a color that will work. Let me go ahead and clean up my space and get some pieces cut for the box and my washi tape, and we will come back and regroup, and then we will finish this project. Be right back. Okay folks, we are back, and I think we have gotten pretty much most of this together. I did do this little die cut, and I used this die cut right here. And this one is from a Gina Marie die, and you get 4 dies on this one. It's called Flower Pleated Lace Nested Oval. That's a mouthful, isn't it? I will list that in the description below, along with where you can go to find that if you're interested in picking up a set of these dies. I love Gina Marie dies. They are always good. They cut beautifully. Her designs, I mean, they are just, they're stunning. Every die that I have that it's hers, they cut well, and they are gorgeous. I did cut a 1/2 inch strip of my floral paper that I am going to glue right in the middle of this belly band. And I am going to try to center this as best I can. So we're going to go ahead and start putting this card together. I think we're at a point where we can start gluing pieces down. So I'm going to start with the belly band. I'm going to put a good amount of glue because I want this to make sure that it is stuck right in the middle. And I'm going to lay this out like this. And I'm just going to run it right down the middle, just like that. And what's going to happen, this piece right here is going to live on here, but I'm not sure exactly where I want to put it yet. So we're going to hold off on that just for a moment, and let's go ahead and start gluing. I'll tell you what, before we go with the card, let's work on our box. The box, I'm only going to decorate the front of it. This is that washi tape, and I did cut 2 pieces of this to go at the top and the bottom of this You Are Beautiful, and this was one of the cutter parts. So I am going to center this in the middle. I'm not going to take that temporary adhesive off. I'm just going to leave it, and we're going to put our art glitter glue down, just like this. And I want to get this piece on here prior to putting that washi tape down, because that's going to let me know where I want that tape to live. So I'm going to put that in just like that. I'm going to open the box so that I can use my bone folder and just make sure that glue is adhering, just like that. Well, that's so pretty just all by itself, but just look at what this is going to do. Now this peels off just like this, and it is adhesive, so you need to be careful when you're putting this down. And I ordered this off of Amazon, and I am going to, good thing is it's like washi tape, so if you put it down wrong you can pull it back up, and I am going to put that down right even with the bottom, just like that. And then I'm going to turn the other one this way, and I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to run this at the top, just like that. And look how beautiful that makes that box. This Lacey, I'm going to get this down here where I can see what I'm doing. So if my head's in the camera, I do apologize. But I do need to get this even so I can make sure I'm getting it placed correctly. There we go. Look how gorgeous that is. Did that not dress that up? I love it. Like I said, I love pink and a spring green together. And you throw in a little bit of purple and a little teal. Oh my goodness. It is just, that is just heaven in cardstock. Okay, now let's get our card over here. And we're going to start taking our pieces apart. And I'm going to start with the front, and I'm just going to lift this off and put my glue down. And this is very repetitious. You know, we're just going to glue these pieces down. We're going to work that 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch border all the way around, making sure that we get it just like we want it, just like that. And lay it down and press it really good. Always like to go back over this with my Teflon bone folder. That really helps get that glue pressed out so that we have a really good piece to go down. So we just want to make sure that we put so much work in this, we want it to be pretty. Now, you know, I'm going to be honest with you, this card is a labor of love. And this would be something you'd make for someone that's very special and dear to you, because you are putting a lot of work in it. But oh my goodness, the joy of putting something together like this, it is stunning. And I have so enjoyed, you know, I love a challenge of a pretty card like this. And when I saw this, I was like, and I kind of had this on the back burner for a while, and I was waiting for the perfect time to bring it. And I think right now that we're, you know, facing Mother's Day, it's coming up, and none of us know what the social distancing is going to mean as far as being able to see your mom on that special day. But, you know, you could do this for a friend, a sister, an aunt. This card is also beautiful if you decorate it in a masculine scene, and I may come back with this card done in a masculine scene so that you can see it done for a lady or a man, because we do have Father's Day coming up in June. So y'all let me know if that's something you would like. We always struggle for masculine cards, And I do have some ideas of what we could do to turn this into a masculine card. So it's, you know, it's always, there's options out there. No matter what type of card maker you are, you can always find a way to make a card for someone that's special. Your dies and your stamps, your color inks, and your choice of paper is what can make the difference in a feminine card versus a masculine card. So let's kind of keep that in mind, and you know, we're going to see what we can come up with for some masculine Father's Day cards. It's so easy to do mom and grandmothers and the ladies in our life because, you know, we all love flowers, and they do, so it makes it real easy for us to do cards for them. I'm just continuing as we're chit-chatting, putting these mats down. You know, we already got them cut and positioned, so now it's just basically going back and gluing everything in place. But oh, what fun this card is. And you know, you could put so many messages within this card if you wanted to cut little dies and stamp little positive sentiments, just little words of encouragement, maybe some scripture. I think this would be beautiful done with scriptures. Okay, I'm going to come down here and we'll go ahead and glue this one on. And this one we just wanted enough up so that we can see it when we close this down. Now we do have to do one little bit of fussy footwork right here. We need to run a line of glue let's do it on this side. We're going to run the glue right here and right here. Very thin bead because this is going to be our pocket. And just hold that in place. And I'm squeezing mine in to make it a little bit more of a pocket, if you can see that. I'm just kind of pushing in on my glue. And if it doesn't hold for you, you can always go back and put some tape down. Okay, I think that's going to hold. Let's go ahead and pull this piece off. Yeah, that looks good. And let's glue this down. The good thing about using that temporary snail, this little dooflachi right here, is the fact that you can tell what side. If you take it apart and you forget, you can very easily look at what side you put the snail on and say, oh yeah, I'm going to use that side. Let's turn this around. I think this looks better this way. And let's glue that down just like that. Okay, now we're going to do this middle, and I am going to, I think I'm going to go ahead and glue this down, and then we'll put the piece over top of it. And again, I want to get this centered in with just that slight amount of border around it. Press that down. And now let's pick this one up and turn it. Yeah, I like this the way it is. I was thinking about cutting a little bit of it off, but then it's going to mess with my little scallop, and I don't want it to do that, so I'm just going to leave it. And let's place this down, centered, just like that. A wonderful, beautiful hello when they open the card. Is that not gorgeous? The one thing I forgot to do, but we can still do it, is I need to grab a punch. And I'm just grabbing my 1-inch circle punch. And what I want to do is I want to cut right here just a little thumb hole, about halfway. Just like that. Perfect. even though I forgot to do it before I closed it up. It still worked out, and it actually lifted that pocket up so you have a little bit more room there. Now, if you want to put little pockets here, you can. You know, this is your card. You can decorate it here with another sentiment. And I may do that a little bit later, but for the sake of the video, I want to get as much of my card together for you. And this video is already going pretty lengthy, so what I want to do now is I had already bent the band, and I want to close this band up here on the back. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw myself a little line right there, and we can always erase that. That's going to let me know that I need to put glue from this line all the way up and down, just like that. So we know that we want to glue this down into this position. And like I said, we can come back and erase that little, not while it's wet with glue. That wasn't a good thing to do. I'll come back with my little mono eraser and we'll get that off. But now this will slide off very easily and slide back on, just like so. And you want this to be snug. Oops, you know what, I didn't put my piece on the back. So we need to go back. Before we do that, let's go ahead and glue this piece down. It got caught under the edge of it, and it reminded me I had not glued this down. So I am going to just really put a good amount of glue. It looks like I'm using so much glue, but I got this fine metal tip, and I'm really not putting that much glue down at all. So come out that little 1/4 of an inch, press that down, just like that. And now we're going to glue, let's put our belly band back on. And then we can decide where we want to put glue our little oval. And I'm thinking I want it to live right there because I want it to look like it's part of the closure. So I'm thinking right about there. So again, I am going to take a pencil and make a mark there and one here. And I know now that I need to put glue between those two places. That just helps me know that I don't get glue outside of where I need it to be. And there we go. And now we're just going to place this down here and here, centering it. And the stamp set that I used for Life Looks Beautiful on You is from the Beautiful You stamp set. And that is I'm going to slide that off now so we can come up under here and make sure we got it glued good. This comes from the Beautiful You stamp set from Stampin' Up. And this is what the stamp looks like. And these are the Stampin' Up blocks. I got some of these, and I will be honest with you, I love them because you've got this groove all the way around for your fingers, and your fingers never hit the ink, which is wonderful. They're nice, thick acrylic blocks. They have a nice solid feel to them. And just for your information, while we're letting this dry, let me show you all the different sizes that they come in. This is your largest block. Look how big that is. I mean, it is a substantial block, but if you're doing a background stamp, you need something like that. Then we have one that's this size, and we have one that's this size. We have the longer ones. These are great for petal stems, long pieces. We have this other long one. This one's got ink or something on it. I need to clean that. Evidently I've used that one. We have one that's this size. We have this one. Let me take the stamp off of it. I've already cleaned that stamp. We have one that size, one this size, and one that size. And then we also have one for a little small sentiment that's that size. So those are the stamp blocks that Stampin' Up! Has to offer. You can purchase these in a set, all of them together, and you can also get this wonderful carrying case that that they have, that every one of your blocks fits in here. If you're traveling, you're going to a stamping convention or something, look at that. And this is a really high quality foam that they sit in. It's not just a regular type of foam. It's very industrial high quality. And all of your stamps fit in this little carrying case, which I think is great. I don't have them in the carrying case on my desk because I'm constantly pulling them out to use them. So I have them in a little storage box. This is one of those little boxes. I think I picked this one up at Hobby Lobby, and this is the smaller one. I think this one is a 6.5 by 4.5. But my blocks fit perfect in here, so I just keep them in here. They work for me. I've got them right here when I need them. They're, like I said, they're very good quality stamp blocks, and I have really enjoyed using them. I wasn't sure that I would because I've always loved the Fisker. The Fisker stamp blocks have always been my favorite. But as you can see, I can get them all in this little box, and they're right here at my fingertips where I can grab them when I need them. So I love those. Let me put my little stamp set back over here, and my stamp with the stamp set. So now let's go ahead and pull our card back together. Let's go ahead and slide on our belly band. Now you can, in that little pocket that's made there, you can put a gift card in there. You can put a little tag in there where you can write your sentiment on it. You could leave the back open for a note. You know, there's just so many ways that you can do this card. But now here's our little box, all decorated, and here's our card in our box. And how stinking cute is that? I think anybody would love to get this card in a box. You could also put sentiment, so when they open this, there could be a beautiful sentiment here. You could stamp something in there. You could cut another die cut or a punch and put something in there. There's just so many ways that you can decorate this little card. And I hope that y'all have enjoyed the process of watching me make this, and I hope that you will try this card for yourself. It really wasn't hard to do. Follow my instructions, the cutting dimensions, and the way you cut out your little squares. Once you get that, this card comes together so quick and easy. I hope you love it. I love all of you so very much. I pray for you each and every day. You know, each one of my subscribers holds a special place in my heart. Some of you I know better than others, and the reason for that is because y'all leave me comments. And when I read your words, of course, it puts a special place in my heart for you. So if you have not been leaving comments for me, please do so. It helps me get to know you. And in getting to know you, I can love you even more. And if that's even possible, because I do love y'all all so much. Y'all mean the world to me. I'm going to zoom you in a little bit so you can see just how pretty this is. Is that not gorgeous? And let's open up the box and look at the card. And you know, I should have put a little punch right here. I didn't think about that until just now. Let's see if we can punch out a little thumb. No, I don't think it's going to do it with that, with it closed. No, maybe a smaller one. Let's see if I got a smaller one in here. Got a little half. No, that's not going to work. Oh well. Next time when I do this, I will cut a little thumb notch out right there on the box so that you can get into the box a little easier. But you can always raise it up from the sides because we angled those little sides. But let's open it up. And I want this to be able to bend back like that. So now we can see the lovely card and the box together just like that. Is that not gorgeous? I am so loving this. Let me zoom y'all back out a little bit. That is beautiful. So I hope that y'all will try this. And if you do, go over to our Facebook group. It's Random Acts of Crafting by Kathy Champion. And request to join if you haven't already. And if you make this card, please leave a picture there. And let me know that you followed my directions or you got your inspiration from me. I love that. I love y'all. God bless you all. And as I always say in closing, let everything you do and say bring glory to our Father in heaven, for He is so worthy. God bless, and until we craft again, bye-bye.